everyone, my name's Joe Hort. I'm the president of AMOSO Properties, and this is...
I'm Dan Adams. I'm the property manager and leasing agent at AMOSO.
Great. So we've had a lot of questions here lately from our clients and from other property managers and people who just manage their properties by themselves about self-showing. With the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been an increased need for touchless showings, ways for potential prospects to go through properties without having contact with other people. And we've been using self-showing technology for almost 2 years, well before the pandemic, has just an increased benefit to our clients. So we thought we'd go ahead and put this video together about the benefits of self-showing, how only is not good for the current environment in quarantine and in the new world that we live in 2020, but just overall how it's actually an increased benefit to your property management clients or to you as an investor, and maybe some of the best practices when utilizing this technology. Dan here has been the primary one in the field using this technology, so he's kind of got the first-hand experience, so that that's why I'm bringing him on this video, so he can kind of fill us in on his experience. Let's start with some of the benefits, Dan. What are the benefits that you're seeing from using self-showing?
Sure, yeah, so some of the great benefits that we get from the self-viewings is the leads and prospects that come in. They are pre-qualified leads, so it'll ask them questions before they view about their income, just their rental history, eviction, bankruptcies, legal. And then another huge benefit of this is there's more showings. It's also very flexible for prospects to get in there to view the property at a time that's good for them.
You mentioned more showings. Like, how many more showings do you think happen with the self-showing technology?
Tons. It's a great advantage to have, say, versus me self-showing or me showing the properties versus using the self-showing technology. We'll get in up to, they can do 10 showings a day, 20 showings a day, compared to me doing 5 to 8 showings, and this is per property. So
you were saying, well, let me clarify. Were you doing 5 to 8 showings per property before this, or just 5 to 8 showings total?
Total per day.
So now so what you're telling me is we're going from 5 to 8 showings across multiple properties to maybe 10 showings per property per day?
Yes.
That's
possible.
That is just an incredible increase in value. Has that increased, or do you think that's increased how many tenants we place?
Absolutely. Yeah, it has. It gets us the best tenants in there with the pre-qualifications, and it gives us the opportunity to get everybody that wants to see the property a chance to see it.
So you also mentioned the flexibility. Let's talk about that for a second. So how is it more flexible?
So schedule-wise, mostly people work during the days and they want to view the properties from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So for the other people that are off during the days, it's great for them too, because they can get in there during the day, and then for the evening people that want to view the properties, it gives them the flexibility to do it a little bit later in the evening, and it frees up more time for me to concentrate on the day-to-day operations at all the properties.
Cool. So say I was a potential prospect at a property that you were showing, and I wanted to go look at it at 7 p.m., but you weren't available. This would allow me to go look at it, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the flexibility, really, here, guys. Is that this allows us to hit while the iron's hot. That's one of the keys in the rental market. If you've been in it for a while, when somebody calls and wants to look at a property, you got to do everything you can do to try to show that person the property as soon as possible. Because if you don't show them yours, they're going to go look at somebody else's, the first one they can get into. And this really allows us to show the property show it on a dime, essentially.
And one more thing on that, Joe, is for the best qualified leads, these people are putting in multiple applications to different properties. So that goes back to what Joe was saying, striking while the iron is hot. and getting them in there as fast as possible to get their applications in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, so I know when we initiated this technology a couple of years ago, one of my biggest concerns, not only as a manager, but also a property owner that these were going to go on, was security. In fact, I resisted this technology for a while because I was afraid of the security. I was afraid of letting people go into a property by themselves. And it wasn't until that I met some other people who were already using it, I was convinced otherwise. Tell me a little bit about how these things are secured, and what processes do we do to make sure that we're keeping properties secure while utilizing self-showing technology?
Sure. So the security protocols that we use. So the website that we use, it asks for the prospect to upload a picture of their ID. This is a driver's license, passport, something that is valid and clear and legible too. So that's one of the main security protocols that we use. And then the other one is the individual code that is sent to these people. It expires after 1 hour, so it gives them a 1 hour window from when their showing is scheduled. And then if they go at a different time, that code does not work.
So if they schedule a time to go look at the property at say 7 again, they'll get a code that's good from 7 to 8.
Correct.
And then they couldn't come back tomorrow and get back in the property again.
No, they cannot.
That's definitely a good thing. Okay. So now tell me, did you mention the photo ID?
Yep. Yeah. Photo ID.
So how does that work? So they have to scan in a photo ID, and do you look at these photo IDs, or how does that get verified?
That gets verified by the website. I can do overrides on these to if there's, say, the background. It's kind of a technicality, but if the background blends in with the ID, but it's a good ID, I can approve that and get them in there. And then another security feature is we also collect their cell phone numbers. So this is a good tracking and security measure as well.
So back to the ID though. But the vast majority are verified through the website, or the personnel at the website. They look at them and say, yeah, this is a valid ID. And if it's blurry or not legible, they're not approved. They can't get a code. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Cool. Well, let's take a second and talk about the box here. I wanted to show you. This is the type of box we choose to use. It's called a code box. These are pretty prevalent for self-showing. There's other types of boxes out there. We like this one because we use the bigger one. They have a smaller one that's about half the size, but we use this one because it allows us to put more keys in that we need. Sometimes when we send vendors out, we can actually designate a code per vendor, so we can track who's in and out of the properties. But what's really cool is these talk to satellites, and so when a tenant's approved, they get their own individual code, and that's the code that will go in and that expires eventually. Now, have you noticed any technical problems, or these seem like they're pretty sturdy? They've been pretty good in the field.
They're very sturdy. They run on
just a 9-volt battery.
Yeah, 9-volt batteries. Yep.
And if a battery ever goes dead, you can just plug one in here at the bottom to open up the box. That was one. I was like, what happens when the battery goes dead? Oh, they were smarter than me and thought of it ahead of time. So they think of everything. But we really had good success with this type of box. Now, lastly, let's give some people who are just going to start doing this here for themselves in the next month or so. Let's give them some tips, some things we've learned over the past couple of years. What do you think some of the best practices to use are when we do self-showing?
I would say follow-up is the number one. Just give them an in-person call, kind of get their feedback on what they thought of the property. And then if they want to go forward with the application, make sure that they get a link to that sent to them. And this is already automatically sent to them too, through the text messaging where they confirm their showing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So when you mentioned follow-up, I mean, the people that go and look at the property, they're tracked and we get to see that somewhere, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. All of these are tracked when they go to multiple properties of ours. We see all of the properties that they're interested in and all of the ones that they have viewed, as well as their feedback.
Oh, that's really good. So to follow up like right away, and once again, that goes to striking while the iron's hot. But there's also follow-up already automated in most of these products. So, then what else would be a good advice?
Oh, just having the property in tip-top shape, having it cleaned, and just in good shape, ready to show. That's just leasing 101 right there. And yeah, so having it clean, security, and the follow-up.
So so making sure the property looks good, making sure you're checking photo IDs, and then following up, and you're going to be successful if you choose to self-show. All right. Well, I think that does it. Do you have anything else? Anything we should add?
Not right now. It's working. We're going to keep it working here.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and good luck out there.